In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a shoe in Blender. There will be 5 cool tricks, some of which you may have never seen before, and I'm also going to show you 3 mistakes I made so that you don't have to do the same. This video is structured as follows. First, I'm going to dive into the history of shoes, then I'm going to tell a little bit about the manufacturing, and finally we're moving over to the 5 modeling tricks and the 3 mistakes. So let's get into it straight away. The first shoes might originate back to 40,000 to 10,000 before Christ, but one of the first examples that we've actually found is 5,500 years old in Armenia. It's made from cowhide and it looks like this. Not completely comfortable, but probably better than freezing off your foot or stepping on rocks the entire time. It's literally I put my foot in your ass cow edition. Another interesting fact is that heels came from Persia and Louis XIV was one of the first persons in Europe to actually use this as a status symbol. That's why this dude looks pretty sassy, but was the peak of masculine prowess a couple of centuries ago. Shoes as we know them nowadays became popular due to industrialization. Sewing and stitching machines made it easier for these type of shoes to be mass produced, giving normal plebeians like yourself access to high quality shoes that weren't made by a local drunk farmer. Quick side note, at this point there were no left and right shoes, everything was straight, which you wouldn't really guess if you look at this dude. Then finally vulcanized rubber was discovered and now we get the shoes with the soles as we know them today. The process right now is not that much different. Rubber soles get stitched or molten to specific labs of fabric that were cut out by a machine and they get attached together by human hands in China or Vietnam. So if you're worried about AI or robots taking your job, the shoe industry always needs some hands, because robots are not that good at handling flappy materials. So that's a quick history on shoes. I think it's pretty funny if you're doing product animation that you get a bit more side information about the models you're actually creating. So right now I'm going to dive into the 5 modeling tricks. I picked a relatively advanced shoe from On Running. A Nike would have been easier, or Vans, since there aren't that many components or holes. So this model is actually quite detailed. We have all of these holes, there's text in different areas. I'm not sure if I can show you this. Yeah, right here, Cloud Tech. You can see that. We have some text right over here, Swiss Engineering. There's also a bump map at this very unfortunate location. It says Helion. In any case, we do have the shoe right here. I'm going to show you the model. It looks like this. So just a quick side note, a shoe consists of different parts. So this is actually just like the manufacturing process I showed you before. We get different types of fabrics and we stitch them all together later on, which is basically what I did here. We have this part, we have this part, we have the laces, of course, we have some weird little things right there, and of course the rubber soles. But I want to show you a little trick right here, because how did I make these holes? That's a very good question. So I'm going in here and let's say you want to make a hole like this. You can already see the topology, right? These holes were going sideways. So it's not like I can simply press I here. Let's loop tool circle like this. And now I have something that looks like a hole. And then I take all of this and move it like so. Because then we are going to get a lot of shading artifacts. So figuring out how to get this hole not to be straight but sideways was quite a challenge. But in order to fix that, what I did is a little trick that I already showed you in the headphone modeling tutorial. Very good tutorial, by the way, if you want to check that out. It's a very good model. Now, if you get your circle right here, what you can do, or what I did actually, is simply delete all of this. Then I took this, made sure to follow this reference. I simply duplicated it, rotated it like so, and make sure that we get the other side. Connect this up, then move this about a little bit, take all of this, rotate it again to get the other side of the shape, and we then connect it together. And now we basically have this exact shape. We need to make sure that it is going to follow this curvature. So how can we do that? Well, if we go to the modifiers, add a shrink wrap, take this and select our object. And now it is going to follow our curvature. It's not going to be completely perfect. I'm not sure why that is, but no matter which one you choose, it's always going to distort the mesh a little bit. And I'm not entirely sure why this is. But in any case, you apply the shrink wrap and you delete an exact part right here where this is supposed to go. Then you take this and that, Control J. Now it's all part of the same thing. You need to make sure that this one has the same amount of vertices as this one. So here we have 20 vertices and this one has 16. So if I add 2 more over here and 2 more over there. And now in theory, if we bridge all of these edge loops, it should all flow together. And that's how you get those cool looking holes in your model. Now, if you want to get some finishing touches up there, you can always select this and smooth it out like so. That will make it slightly smoother on the sides of this model. So that's basically the first trick. When you're working with organic models that have weird curvatures, you can always use the shrink wrap to get an initial projection on there. Then you have something that is following the base correctly, and you can move the vertices starting from that good base point. Now for modeling this top part, I really used a simple design. It's just a plane with some loop cuts, and I moved it around like this with proportional editing. And this is pretty straightforward and easy, but I did make a mistake, which I will show you later on. And by the way, if you want to learn product animation from beginner to advanced, I have a magnificent course that does this, and it shows you step by step how to make product animations. Modeling, texturing, animation, simulation, geometry nodes, and even how to get your first paying customer. So check that out if you're interested. The link is in the description and in the comments. Now for the second trick, I'm going to show you how I made sure that this sole is following the curvature of the shoe. Basically what it comes down to, if I now add a plane, I'm going to bring it right there, scale it, add a couple of loop cuts right over here, let's give it some curvature, right? Now if you are going to model the soles, then let's say you start with a plane. Now you have a problem, because you have to rotate everything, and then it needs to be extruded into this part where it's just going to be a hassle, right? So what you can do is make the soles in a flat manner. Let's go over to the original curved object, which should be the sole of your shoe. I'm going to the Data Object Properties tab, and I will click on Shape Keys 2 times. Then I will go into Edit Mode, press A, SZ0, and now it's flat. You might be wondering, okay, and now what? Well, if we play around with this, it is going to change the shape. So if we place our flat sole on top of this, right? Go to the modifiers and add a surface deform. If we now pick our target object, the plane, and now before we go back to the plane, this modifier itself doesn't do anything. So if I go back here and play around with it, doesn't do anything. That's because you first have to bind it in a specific position. Right here you have a little button called bind, click on it, and then go to this one, Data Object Properties tab, and if you now move it, it is going to follow along with the curvature of the original plane. So that is the way that you can make your soles in a flat manner and then bring it back on the curved object of the shoe using shape keys and the surface deform modifier, like this. Pretty cool, right? Now, if you're wondering how I did the laces, in comes trick 3. The laces are actually quite uninteresting. It's just a grind to get it right. The way that I did it was like this. I added a curve Bezier or a curve path. I think both of them work. So I'm going to use a path because I think it's the better one of the two. And you might be tempted to just turn this into a circle. So if you go to this tab, go to geometry and then increase the depth on the bevel, then you will have a circle. And for some laces, this is completely normal. For mine, I really wanted to get this shape in there where you have like a subdivided I-beam, if that makes any sense. Is if you go over here, you can have a target object for the geometry. So what I did is I added a curve circle, played around with it like so, until you get a shape that looks exactly like this. And then I'm going under bevel, but instead of selecting round, I'm going to select object. An object, you can use the picker tool, you can select the Bezier circle. And now the profile of your curve will be this object. And now you're wondering, okay, but how can I change the size? Because I don't really want to scale down my path anymore. So you can simply scale this down. If you scale the original down, it will also change the rest. And from this point onward, it's basically coming down to moving all of this, extruding. And one neat little trick is to press Ctrl T. And if you just click on rotate, it will not do anything. So if you press on Ctrl T when working with curves, you can rotate it around its own axis, which is a very cool little trick right there. In any case, that is exactly how I made the laces, and eventually I turned it into a model so I can actually texture it a bit more properly. Now, and technique number 4 is actually not that much of a technique, it's more of a tip. But since we already have the base shape of the model, and it is an organic model, so we can get away with a bit more funkiness, I would really recommend simply going in here. And the way I created this shape, for example, was simply by taking all of this, duplicating it, P, separate the selection, and I just went in there and changed the shape like this from all around. So I just changed it until it looked like this. That is the way I did it. There was no trickery. There was no projecting or a specific modifier or a surface deform or some type of curve where I'm spawning all of this on. This is simply manipulating the shapes in such a way to make it simple for you. And especially since it's organic, so we don't have to follow these very strict rules. And then for the texturing, you might be wondering how all of this is done. I'm just going to show you the principal BSDFs. They are actually quite simple. If you go over here, this material is just 2 bump maps combined, a simple shading texture with a noise. So that is this material, and we got this one. And the only bump that was connected here was the Helion sign, which I think can be improved, it can be stronger. But we get the bump for this specific texture, which is just a Voronoi, and we have the noise variation for the color. This one is just a fabric texture. If you go over here, it is Fabric 61. From Polyhaven. The rubber, same story, didn't do anything actually, just a small bump in it. For the bottom side, I did create this weird looking thing, simply made with Gemini. So I took a reference image of the bottom side of the shoe, and then I had Gemini turn it into a image like this, and I just kind of spawned it on there. So that is the way that I made this texture, nothing crazy at all. But yeah, as you can see, it's just this standard image for the bottom side. And that's how I made it. Now, one cool texture trick that I did use, haha, we are not done yet, is right over here. And maybe you're not able to notice it, but I wanted to add a bit more as if it was beaten up, but it shouldn't be too much. I just wanted to give you that sense of realism a little bit more. And if I increase this, you can see what I mean. Yeah, very ugly if I do it like this, but very subtly. There isn't much going on, but still it made it slightly more real. So I did it anyways. And how I did it, it's very simple. You go over here, you add an empty image, just like this. Image, texture, and add it. You click on new, you make a new one, you give it a name. I call mine Alpha 1. And then you go to the Texture Paint tab. So if you go to the Texture Mask tab, right over here, and you click on new, and then you go to the Texture tab by clicking on this little button, then you open the image of your texture, which is just a black and white image. I'm going to select this circle. Then you can go back to the workbench, which is the one on the top, right? And on the texture mask, if you now start painting, you get a lot of circles. Now, there are different manners in which you can do this. So I used stencil, which is like this. And then you can draw into it. Of course, I didn't draw it on the UV. I drew it on the object immediately, like over here. And then you can draw it, and then it should have that line on your texture. That is exactly how I made this. So I think that's a pretty cool little trick in order to get these slight little details on here. And the reason I plugged it into a displacement map so is that we can actually see those details a little bit better, but not too much. Not too much, it's a subtle effect. But now we've already had the history, the manufacturing, and 5 tricks. So now I'm going to tell you everything about the mistakes. Right here, we have a cool looking model, right? And it's organic. So if you look at it from the top, this part over here is not the same as this part over here. And what I should have done is make everything with mirror mode. So it's exactly the same on each side. And then once you're done with that, you can go click on 7. You select all the objects you have from the shoe, like this. And then you go into edit mode. And then you can just simply move this around to follow the reference you have later on, but with everything selected. Because as you can see, if I do this now, let's say this was the shape of the shoe, then at least I have this entire part that I also made follow along. Now the mistake I made is that I did this too early. I already started doing this before I had the soles. So that is a problem later on when I had to match the soles again to the organic model. That was a hassle. So I would recommend doing everything with the mirror modifier until you're almost at the very end and then move all the shapes. A completely different way to do this, I would call it maybe mistake number 2, is to start with the soles. Because if you start from the soles, then you already have the base shape in the correct position. That means you cannot do the mirror modifier trick and you have to do double work, but the chance of your model actually looking good will increase. Right now, for me, I think the soles are the worst part of this entire model. And I think that you could have solved that if you started with the soles instead of with the shoe itself. The third mistake is choosing this shoe. It is a very advanced model if you look at all of the different elements right here, such as some rubber strips with some text or the holes in here and some bump maps, some extra elements, another rubber strip. This entire area It was not the easiest model to do, especially if you are a beginner. I wouldn't recommend starting with something from this brand. Instead, start with Vans, for example. They are flat, or a Nike, that's also good because they are quite simple designs. And that's basically how you make a shoe. So I turned this shoe into a goofy video with some GTA elements and some sci-fi futuristic stuff. It was a passion project, challenging myself to make a wild little product animation in a very new sense. And also completely by myself. It's just a funny video, not a cinematic, amazing movie or something, but if you want to check it out, it's on the channel. And if you want to learn more Blender, I highly recommend checking out the course. The link's in the description, and I will see you in the next one.